The first time she locked the door after we finished, I didn't think anything of it. I was lying down, still catching my breath, when she stood up quietly, a silhouette against the dim light from the window. She walked to the door, and the sound of the key turning in the old lock was unnaturally loud in the silence. Kpakam. Then she came back like nothing happened. I looked at her as she slid back into the sheets. She smiled and pressed her body against mine, but her skin, usually warm, was cool to the touch, like she had been standing outside in the night air. That was the night I started paying attention. Her name is Adesi. We've been married for just 2 months. I met her through one of those "God told me she's the one" type introductions. My friend's cousin. Calm girl, soft voice, no stress. Me? My name is Somto. 35. I run a printing press. I don't like trouble. That's one of the reasons I married her. She looked like peace. But that night, as I lay there staring at the ceiling, a cold knot formed in my stomach. Why lock the door after? Not before, not when we came in. After. Like she was trapping us in, or trapping something else out. The second time it happened, a week later, I asked her gently, "Do you usually lock the door at night?" She looked at me, her eyes unblinking. "Why not? Are you expecting someone?" I laughed it off, but deep down I felt a prickle of fear. And then it became a ritual. We'd make love. She'd get up, a silent shadow, lock the door, come back to bed, her body cool against mine, and fall asleep almost instantly. But last night I noticed something new. When she locked the door, she didn't just turn the key. She pressed her forehead against the wooden frame and whispered something under her breath, a string of words in a dialect I didn't recognize. It wasn't a prayer. It sounded like an incantation. Or a warning. And when she came back to bed, she didn't touch me. She just faced the wall and said one thing, in a voice so quiet it was almost carried away by the dark. "You must never open that door when I'm asleep." The room was quiet. Too quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like a blanket smothering all sound. Adesi had already turned her back to me. Her breathing was soft, steady, but it was the only thing that proved she was even there. For me, sleep was impossible. Her words echoed in the oppressive silence. "You must never open that door when I'm asleep." Why? Why would a woman say that to her own husband? It felt less like a request and more like a rule in a game I didn't know I was playing. I turned on my side and stared at her back. A sudden, irrational urge to shake her awake, to demand answers, seized me. But something held me back. Not love, fear. She never gets angry, even when I do things that would annoy any normal woman, like tracking mud into the house or forgetting to buy the one thing she asked for. She just smiles and says, "It's okay." That's not normal. It's not human. She barely talks about her family. I've asked a few times, "When will I meet your mum? What about your siblings?" She'd smile that same placid smile and say, "Very soon." 2 months now, nothing. No pictures, no stories. It's like she was born the day I met her. The weekend my mother visited was when the cracks really began to show. The moment my mum's car pulled up, Adesi vanished into the bedroom. When she finally came out 10 minutes later, her face was calm, but her eyes were red-rimmed and bloodshot, as if she'd been staring into a fire. That night, Adesi didn't sleep. She sat on the floor at the edge of the bed, a rigid posture in the dark. I pretended to be asleep, watching her through slitted eyes. She murmured for hours in that strange, guttural dialect. And a faint, strange smell filled the room. Not incense, but something earthy and metallic, like damp soil and old blood. The day after my mum left, she rejected my touch for the first time. That evening, I called my sister Amaka. "Amaka," I said, "tell me the truth. What do you think about Adesi?" There was a long pause on the line, then Amaka's voice, low and worried. "She's too quiet, Somto. It's the kind of quiet that covers noise. Be careful, that girl is hiding something. But it's not my place to say. You're the one who sleeps beside her." That night, driven by a mix of fear and foolish courage, I decided to act. I waited until her breathing was deep and even. I tiptoed to the door, the floorboards groaning under my weight. I slowly reached for the brass key. My fingers were just about to close around it when I heard her voice. It was cold, clear, wide awake, and it came from right behind me. If you turn that key, something will turn in your life. My hand froze, inches from the key. The blood in my veins turned to ice. I could feel the warmth of her breath on the back of my neck. I hadn't heard her move. I hadn't heard a thing. I pulled my hand back as if the key were white-hot iron and slowly, dreadfully, turned around. Adeze was standing there, not sitting up in bed. Standing, right behind me. The moonlight from the window cast long, distorted shadows across the room, and in that eerie light her face was a mask. Her eyes were wide, black pools, and they were fixed on me with an intensity that pinned me to the spot. "What did you just say?" I asked, my voice a dry rasp. "You heard me, Somto." The voice was hers, but it was hollow, empty of all the softness I knew. It was the voice of a judge. I stumbled back towards the bed, my legs shaking. "Adeze, what is the meaning of this? This is madness. Are you threatening me?" "It is not a threat," she said, taking a step closer. The floor didn't creak under her feet. "It is a promise. I am protecting you." "Protecting me?" The word came out as a strangled laugh. "From what? From a locked door? Or are you protecting yourself? What is in this house with us?" She shook her head, and for a fleeting moment, a look of profound agony crossed her face. Her eyes weren't just sad, they were terrified, as if she wasn't just begging me, but begging something else I couldn't see. Some doors are meant to stay closed. Some things that wander in the night should not be given a way in. I am your wife. I am supposed to keep you safe. By locking us in, by whispering incantations, by speaking to me as if you are a stranger. My fear was boiling over into anger. A wife is a partner, not a warden. I don't even know you, Adeze. 2 months, and I realize I don't know who or what I married. She flinched as if I had struck her. Tears welled in her eyes, silent and heavy. "Please," she finally whispered, her voice cracking with desperation. "Please, Somto, don't ask any more questions. Just trust me, for a little while longer. I am begging you." She reached a hand out, but I recoiled from her touch. "I can't," I said, grabbing a pillow from the bed. "I can't sleep in this room tonight." I went to the parlor. As I lay on the sofa, staring into the suffocating darkness, every creak of the house, every rustle of leaves outside, sounded like a footstep. I knew one thing for sure. The peace I thought I had married was a lie. It was just the calm surface of a very deep, very dark ocean. The next morning the house was silent. She had made breakfast. We ate without a word. I went to my printing press, but my mind was a storm. I kept seeing her eyes in the moonlight. I kept hearing that hollow voice. "If you turn that key, something will turn in your life." By midday, I couldn't take it anymore. I closed the shop. I needed answers, and she was a fortress. I picked up my phone and called Chidi, the friend who introduced us, the one whose cousin knew this calm girl. He picked up on the second ring. "Somto, my man, how far now? How's married life?" I cut him off. "Chidi," I said, my voice low and shaking with urgency, "I need the truth about Adeze. Now, where exactly is she from?" There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line, just long enough for me to hear the hum of electricity. Chidi's cheerful tone vanished. "What kind of question is that, Somto? She's from Umueke, I told you. My cousin Nkechi knows her family." "Don't lie to me, Chidi," I snapped, my patience gone. "I am in my house and I am afraid. She locks the door every night and whispers things I don't understand. She threatened me last night. I am asking you one last time. Who is she?" The silence stretched longer this time. When Chidi finally spoke, his voice had dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. Okay, calm down. It's not that deep now." He was trying to sound reassuring, but I could hear the tremor in his voice. "It is deep, Chidi. Look," he said, sighing heavily, "Nkechi didn't know her family well. They were reclusive. Adeze is from Umueke, yes, but she's from the part near the old forest. People don't go there. Why? I demanded, my heart starting to pound against my ribs. Old stories, man. Juju. Stuff you and I don't believe in. He laughed, but it was a nervous, hollow sound. What stories, Chidi? He hesitated. Somto, maybe you should just… I don't know. Go to a hotel for the night. Let things cool down. Tell me the story, I roared into the phone. The line went dead quiet. I could hear him breathing. They say her family has a debt, he whispered, so low I could barely hear him. A generational thing. They are tied to something. Something that lives in that forest. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead. What thing? I don't know the name, Chidi said, his voice cracking. But the story Nkechi heard, the reason Adizi had to leave the village, was that she was promised to it, and every night, it comes looking for her. The phone felt slick in my hand. The sounds of the street outside my shop faded away. All I could hear was the blood rushing in my ears. What does it do? I don't know, Somto. All Nkechi said was that the family had a way to protect themselves. A ritual. Something they do to keep the door shut so it can't get in. She said Adizi was never supposed to marry, never supposed to share a room with anyone. His voice was frantic now. Somto, listen to me. Nkechi said whatever happens, if you are ever in a room with her at night, that door must be locked. It's not to keep you in, it's to keep it out. Do you understand me? Don't ever, ever unlock that door when she is asleep. I hung up the phone. I didn't even say goodbye. I sat there in my shop, the world spinning around me. The locked door, the whispering, her cold skin, the fear in her eyes. It wasn't a mystery anymore. It was a horror story, and I was living in it. I drove home in a daze. The setting sun painted the sky in shades of orange and blood red. My house, once a source of pride, now looked like a tomb. I walked in. Adiza was in the kitchen, humming a soft tune. She turned and gave me that calm, gentle smile. "Welcome back, my love," she said. "Dinner is almost ready." I looked at my wife, the woman I had shared a bed with, and for the first time I saw the cage bars behind her smile. I saw the terror she lived with every single day. My gaze drifted from her face to the hallway that led to our bedroom, to the door. It wasn't just a door anymore. It was a gate, and something was knocking from the other side.